Good afternoon, School District of Indian River County. This is Dr. Moore, your superintendent, excited to be here live at our district office, TEC Center, with our live town hall meeting. Tonight is going to be an opportunity for us to connect, engage, and share updates with the School District of Indian River County and our plans over the next several months, as well as a quick look back on the work that we have accomplished over the last several months. So just to set up the conversation for this evening, we're going to be covering COVID-19 updates. Want to go through some of the action that we have taken, some of the accomplishments that we have experienced over the last several months, and provide updates where we are looking to go in the future in response to COVID-19. Then we want to continue our conversation around the millage. We're excited to share information with you about continuing to support the school system of Indian River County and the impact you and we collectively can have on our children within this district. And then we're going to have an update on our 90-day plan. Just prior to the closing of schools and moving to the COVID-19 instructional provision plan, we had a town hall meeting planned. And that was the opportunity for us to bring an update to you regarding our 90-day plan. The 90-day plan, for those of you who are not familiar with that, was the 90 days, the first 90 days of my superintendency, commitments that I made to the school board, to the community on what would be accomplished during that 90 days. So I'm excited to provide an update to you tonight regarding that progress, significant progress, even with COVID-19 interrupting us collectively as a nation. So if you have questions tonight, this is on Facebook Live, so I would encourage you to submit your questions, and as we move through the presentation, we will have an opportunity to answer those questions. So if I am not answering or responding to something that you would like a question answered, feel free, put it on Facebook Live, and this will be as live as a town hall meeting as it possibly could be. I anticipated prior to COVID-19 this being a room that was filled with our community, with our school members, and providing a very meaningful and exciting update to the community. And this room is empty. We have our school board chair here, Ms. Zork. We have our assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction, Mr. Meyer, Ms. Kristen Maddox and her team here to help facilitate. So we're excited to provide this update for you. So as we begin, I want to start talking about COVID-19. I want to begin with some reminders regarding our instructional provision plan. This was a plan that we put together in a very quick time to ensure that it was A, flexible in order to meet the needs of all learners in our community. And when I say flexible, not only flexible to the learners, but also flexible to the reality within their home. Very excited about our desire to create a plan that was flexible enough to be modified over the course of that time. As we look at that plan, we wanted to ensure that there was a great deal of support that was being provided. So we did a great deal of development for our teachers, not only at the onset of COVID-19 as it relates to using new instructional technology and new resources, but ultimately on how to continue to enhance their skills over time. So what we were doing in week 1 is significantly enhanced and more individualized and more creative going on week 8 of implementation. And I'm very proud of how our teachers and staff have been very supportive of this process and very willing to learn in order to ensure we continue to provide high quality instruction to all of our students. And then looking at the distribution of materials in technology, a absolutely Herculean effort by our team distributing almost 8,200 devices to our students, ensuring they had access to those devices. When you're looking at meals, we have surpassed the 200,000 mark. We have 125 devices that have been, when I say devices, I'm sorry, hotspots that are out there. We still have hotspots to give, so if you know someone in the community who is in need of a hotspot, please reach out to your school principal. We will be able to accommodate. So outstanding work in providing the resources and materials needed to stay on top of the needs for our community. And then finally, in looking at COVID-19, we have been very intentional of communicating with our teachers, with our principals, and you as a community. So we have done at the onset, we did Facebook Live every single day, then moved to a 2-day-a-week platform. We continue to do those 2-day-a-week updates, ensuring that we're learning from you by listening, understanding the complexity of what it means to provide instruction in a virtual reality, in a virtual structure in home, and then modify or change our programming based on what we're hearing. And we will continue to do that as we move forward. So very excited about our work, very proud of our work, and looking forward to continuing to build upon what we have learned over this time. Our teachers' skills were outstanding prior to COVID-19, but now looking back over what they have learned over the last several months, we have made significant advances in our skills in using technology, and we're looking forward to coming back to an environment under a typical brick-and-mortar situation and pulling those skills that we have developed into our classrooms and revolutionizing our classrooms to provide students with 21st century learning. Well, what's next? That is a question that I'm sure is flooding in on Facebook Live right now. Seniors for graduation. We have been committed from the very beginning to ensure that our seniors have an opportunity to have a traditional graduation. Initially, we set 2 dates, one June, that has and will come and go, and now we're focusing in for July 10th and July 11th. We understand there will be restrictions on those graduations. CDC will have recommendations as it relates to social distancing. We are going to wait, understand those restrictions, work with our seniors to design a meaningful experience on those particular days so they will have that memory, that accomplishment on that particular day, which reflects the 13 years that they've been working on. So with all the shifts and changes that our seniors have experienced over the last several months, we remain committed to providing a typical, as best possible graduation experience for them, the opportunity to be in their home stadium, to walk across that stage, receive that diploma. So we're looking forward to designing that experience as close as the traditional experience as humanly possible. Next Tuesday, we are excited. We will be on Facebook Live again, Facebook Live, 3 p.m. on Tuesday, and we will be discussing our summer programming, Illuminate 2020. It is going to be very exciting. A lot of school districts are doing some pretty good things. I am here to tell you, under the leadership of Mr. Meyer and his team, we are going to be doing some things every other district will be envious of, opportunities and experiences in significantly different ways to be provided to all the children in Indian River and the school district of Indian River County. Yes, there will be restrictions. Yes, we will be under social distancing. Yes, there will be structures of virtual learning take place, but we have designed a comprehensive program that we're very excited to announce. So make sure you tune into Facebook next week, Tuesday, 3 p.m. And then also Operation Reboot. That is the work that we are doing to prepare for the return to school. We have established a work group which is made up of principals, teachers, community members, really to begin the dialogue and conversation of how we are going to return to a typical school environment. And as we learn what that experience may look like and what restrictions may or may not be in place, we have the opportunity really to dig into how do we bring that reality, that new reality, to life. Is it a blended model? Is it a share time model? Do we continue with the virtual path? How do we get students to school when you have to do social distancing on a bus? How do you have lunch in the cafeteria? So this is an opportunity to take a very proactive approach to design answers that are absolutely the best for the school district of Indian River County. And I can't thank that committee enough for their input. We are designing something that will be extremely unique and individualized to meet the needs of each and every single one of our schools, continuing that conversation in the coming weeks. And as we learn what those restrictions would be, we will be prepared to have the absolute best plan in order to meet the needs of kids. Some areas that we're focusing in on now is ensuring that we're maximizing the 180 days that we have to provide teaching and learning. So we want to ensure when we begin back, we have programming in place leading us into that school year where we're ready to understand our students, we have greeted our students, we have addressed the social emotional needs, reestablished those routines, those systems that we are so used to, or were used to before COVID-19, so we can begin teaching and learning on day one, allowing students to be a part of a culture where they feel safe, they feel comfortable, they feel loved, and they know that as a result of being in our environment, we'll provide them with an opportunity to maximize their potential. So now we are going to take a short break. We're going to take a commercial break, actually, and I want to share a video that highlights what was a truly special day in the county of Indian River. It was our drive-by saying hi. So sit back and relax and enjoy.
Teachers and staff members representing our schools and district departments gathered at the Indian River Mall to welcome our SDIRC families to the Drive-By and Say Hi pep rally. Our spirits soared as our students and family members circled the mall with decorated cars and signs, including our seniors in the class of 2020, who were wearing their caps and gowns and gleaming with pride.
We're taking the opportunity to come together as a community and celebrate where we are, just the opportunity to connect to one another in a safe way. Everyone, all schools here, running through the Indian River Mall, waving, saying hello, just a great opportunity to connect. We've been apart for so long, working in our virtual platform. This is just an opportunity to come together and celebrate.
Although we are apart, we are SDIRC, stronger together.
That was an absolutely outstanding day. My right shoulder still hurts from all the waving, but it was well worth it. As I said in the video, an opportunity to connect from an individual who is new to the community. It was truly a rewarding experience to feel what it was to be part of such a loving community. So for me and my wife, thank you for the opportunity to participate and to be part of that. Absolutely outstanding. So now we have the opportunity to talk through the continuation of our millage. So in our coming elections, we're going to have the opportunity to go to the polls and continue to support our school system, to continue to build on the momentum that we have established over the last several months and propel that momentum into the future, the very extended, the next 5 years, really to ensure that we are the school system that everywhere else in the nation people want to come and learn about. We have high expectations. We want to move from a middle-of-the-road performing district to one of the top 5 systems in the state, if not the highest system in the state. And that isn't a goal that we should think is just overarching or something that's not attainable. It is. It is, and that needs to be the expectation that we all have to embrace, an expectation that ensures every single child has the opportunity to be part of a system that allows the students to maximize their potential. Be a system that maximizes the potential of all students. We believe we can be that system for our students. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that first and foremost by recruiting and retaining and incentivizing high-quality teachers and staff to create the highest skilled workforce on the Treasure Coast. You want successful children? Ensure they have the absolutely highest skilled teachers in the classroom. I have seen over the last several months qualified, caring individuals who are doing absolutely outstanding work. And as a community and as a system, we have a high expectation for those individuals. And when you have a high expectation, you need to be willing to compensate those individuals with a high wage. We don't want our skill, our talent, to drive down the road to another county because they can get paid more money, to live in our community but work in another community. We want to keep our expertise right here in our classrooms working for our students. And we want to continue to attract, just as this county and this community attracted me to come here, we want to continue to attract other individuals to make the commitment and be a part of this system. And a great way to attract them is to provide them with a salary that compensates them and acknowledges that we value them as a community. Your support in continuing this millage will ensure that we are attracting and retaining the absolute world's greatest teachers here in our system. We want to continue to support around social and emotional learning. Physical and psychological safety is a priority. Our students have been away from the school structure since March 13th. Returning to that, not only is there going to be an academic slide that we have to address, but there is a social and emotional need that we need to be ready to meet. And we need to continue to be able to meet that need over the course of every single child's academic career. If a student doesn't feel safe, doesn't feel confident, he is not going to be able to connect to that meaningful instruction that's being provided. We need to drastically enhance our commitment to provide world-class clinicians and counselors to provide the social emotional support for our students because that is what they deserve. And then creating classrooms that prepare students for the 21st century. A classroom that is innovative, a classroom that is using technology, putting it in the hands of students, and challenging students to use that technology not only to solve problems, but to define problems. And then how to communicate with one another, how to define problems and solve problems, and just not sit in classrooms and do passive work, but high energy, high engaging, innovative classrooms. Classrooms we all want to be a part of, classrooms that we look forward to coming home to, classrooms that inspire children to think and challenge others' thinking in a positive way. So when they get in that car at the end of the day, they are filled with excitement and filled with energy and truly have something to say in regards to what they learned that particular day. Innovative classrooms that are using technology to enhance thinking is what our children deserve. But beyond what I'm saying and trying to aspire you to support, let's look at some data. 44% of teachers leave the profession in the first 5 years. That's a very significant and expensive investment, having to go out and recruit new teachers, having to invest in them every 5 years. Investing in teachers is a key to a district's success. But when we make that investment and then they choose to leave because they're not appropriately compensated, we start all over with someone else who leaves. We need to stop these individuals who had made a decision to invest in the young lives of children, only to walk away from it in 5 years because they're not respected. No, not here, not in our district. They will be respected, they will be cared for, and they will be compensated. Also, 1 in 6 children are diagnosed with a mental behavior or developmental disorder. We need to stand ready to be in support and eliminate that statistic. And we have the counselors in place. We have mental health professionals in place, behavior management systems being created, establishing cultures within our school where all children feel safe, warm, welcomed, and valued. These resources support the elimination of that data point. Half of all mental disorders start by the age of 14. If we know that information now, we as a system need to have systems and structures in place to begin to reduce that number. And technology improves critical thinking and creativity. If technology in classrooms aren't being used correctly and designed correctly now, our students will not be prepared to enter into the post-secondary experience. They will not be prepared to enter into the world of work. We need to ensure that our classrooms are catapulting students to finding success with whatever choice they make for themselves, sitting in classrooms, sitting in rows, every student doing the absolute same thing is a thing of the past, and we need to provide our teachers with the materials and the resources and tools to design those classrooms. Let's look at funding. A lot of questions and a lot of conversations around funding and why we need to continue to support and invest in our system and in our children. If you look at the year 2007, 2008, we use that as a comparative year because that is the peak year of funding in the state of Florida. And we're going to make a comparison from that peak year to the projected funds for the 2021 school year. And as it stands now, we think this projection is a solid projection for funding next year. You see, over the course of that, in comparison from that peak year to now, total additional funding, almost $12 million. But you also have to look at the increased funding requirements, and you see that we are required to spend funds that are categorical to specific areas, just over $9 million. So in addition of almost $12 million, but very specific requirements on where those funds can be spent at the tune of $9.2 million. So when you play the math out, you see that's an actual increase of only $2.6 million. But we also have to consider Florida retirement system, the changes in law over that span of time, and the required investment that local systems are now required to make in Florida retirement system. And you see that's a almost $3.5 million investment. So when you add that increased funding requirement, the increased requirements of the retirement, you see in comparison to that peak year, which was 2007, 2008, it actually is a $840,000 less from what it was in 2007, 2008. Let's bring that comparison a little closer from this year, comparing it to next school year. And you see there is a projected $4.5 million increase. And we're excited about an increase of $4.5 million. Oops, wait a minute. There's still very similar $4.5 million of increased funding requirement. Categorical funds, funds that cannot be spent in other areas, required to spend there, while at the same time still having to fund other areas in which we defund one thing, fund another, becomes very hard and complex to offset that categorical funding requirement. That takes us down to a whopping increase of $22,000. But we still have to incorporate, yet again, Florida retirement investment, which is an increase of $1.4 million for our system. So before we begin to even walk into the next budget year, not having a budget, just a projected budget, by the way, we're down by 1.3, almost $1.4 million. We have to account for that before we begin to do anything else. So when you look at the need to continue to fund public education in Florida, we need to step up. Our children deserve it. We will be a system that ensures the dreams that they have when they go to bed, when they walk into the school the next morning, we will make that dream a reality. This district over the last several months has gained so much momentum, standing shoulder to shoulder, putting our shoulders to the wheel, moving in significant and powerful ways. I am so proud of where this district is going and so exciting for where I know this district is going to go. We will be a model for the rest of the nation. Mark my words, that is going to be the truth. Now, we're going to have one more update, and then we're going to jump into some additional announcements. So first, before we break and have our next commercial, I want to acknowledge our national acknowledgement from Sandy Hook Say Something video contest. Sandy Hook Say Something Week was a new initiative that we started just this school year, ensuring that when children see something that concerns them, whether it be about their friends or about themselves, they know who to contact as an entrusted adult, someone who can take that information and ensure that they get the support that they need. Our very first year, our very first interaction with Sandy Hook, national video contest winners. And to highlight that video, we're going to play it for you now.
As part of our Sandy Hook Promise, during the week of March 2nd through the 6th, our middle and high school students participated in Say Something Week. During this week, students participated in activities which empowered them with the information and tools to feel confident and comfortable in reporting incidents to trusted adults. Sebastian River Middle School students took the Say Something pledge during lunch.
Say Something Week is a week that's sponsored by the Sandy Hook Promise organization. Green is the theme for the Sandy Hook Promise. The students repeat the pledge that if there's something going on, you know who's in this school that you can talk to. And this is all to encourage the kids to prevent tragedies from happening on any school campus.
After they recited the pledge, they identified a trusted adult and painted their pinky green to remind them to always say something. At Storm Grove Middle School, students wrote proclamations stating the reason behind their decision to commit to say something.
Today is a great day because we've been visiting classrooms where students have shared their proclamation. One of the things that we focused on all week is being an upstander. We've had students that have shared things from violence to students being bullied, students being picked on, and why it's important for them to say something. We're excited to be a part of this with the district and hoping all of our students remember to say something.
Students and staff members at Vero Beach High School wore green for Say Something Week. Adults on campus added their signatures and pictures to signs posted in the cafeteria, letting students know that they are a trusted adult.
The Say Something Week campaign that we've been doing at Vero Beach High School and around the district this week is extremely important. Us and law enforcement and school resource officers on the campuses, we have a passion to keep the students and the faculty safe. It helps us complete our mission to keep the students and the faculty as safe as possible while they're at school.
Thank you to our students and schools who participated in Say Something Week. Your innovative activities and school participation captured the attention of the official Sandy Hook Promise page. Stay tuned in the fall when we continue fulfilling our Sandy Hook Promise and start with hello in our elementary schools.
All right, welcome back. Once again, congratulations to all of our schools that participated. Those were our secondary schools. Ms. Kristen Maddox and her team for capturing that outstanding work done by schools, done by our students. Very powerful, not only to be acknowledged across the nation, but ultimately for creating that space and that connection between adult and children in our schools. Very rewarding work. So before we go on to our last section, this is the opportunity for me to respond to any questions. So, Ms. Maddox, do we have any questions?
We do have some questions coming in on Facebook Live. Thank you to everyone who is submitting questions. Our first question comes from Sue Carroll, and she would like to know when we are going back to school in the fall and what that might look like.
That's an absolutely good question. We anticipate returning to school on August 10th, which is the scheduled date. Now, how that experience will roll out is yet to be determined. Our goal is to return to the most traditional space, the most traditional environment possible. We will follow CDC guidelines. We will keep our students, our faculty, and staff safe. So we continue to have conversations with that task force that I spoke about earlier on, ensuring that we have the absolute best, most comprehensive plan that maximizes our opportunity to have a positive impact on our students.
The next question is from Kip Benham, and Kip would like to know, do you anticipate any of the schools closing next year?
No, I do not anticipate any schools closing, continuing to build, continuing to use our recruitment and our school choice model. We want to build enrollment.
Amanda Gonzalez would like to know when and where we will be returning the laptops.
That is an absolutely great question. We were planning on addressing that next Tuesday, but since you asked, Amanda, students will be provided the opportunity May 18th throughout the course of that week to come and return your, pick up your books, your materials, your resources, because when you left on March 13th, you anticipated coming back to school that following Monday, and you were not afforded that opportunity to clean out your locker, get your belongings, and we only want your laptop back, that district laptop, if you absolutely are not using it. We have some summer programming that we are going to be pushing out, and we want you to continue to have access to some of those resources and some of those fun, innovative experiences that we're going to provide. So if you are graduating, yeah, we want the laptop back. If you're absolutely not using it at all, like you picked it up, it's been sitting on the shelf since the day you picked it up, those are the only ones that we want back at this point. And then later in the summer, as we prepare to return and have a better understanding what returning looks like, we will then push out more information on phasing in the collection of laptops.
Jordan Hutchison asks, why not just allow the students to be finished now? He's questioning whether or not they're actually receiving new information over the next 2 weeks, and is it the idea that this will be substantial for their education the following school year?
The answer to that question is that is the expectation. This is a time of the school year historically, regardless of what system or what part of the country you live in, where our teachers provide very fun, very engaging, and very meaningful experiences. There is a requirement in terms of hours in which students need to be in school, and we have challenged our teachers and challenged our principals just not to continue to do the standard, just do what you need to do to get through, but provide meaningful experience, and I would hope that is what you are experiencing. So the answer to your question is, have the highest expectation for the experience that is being provided to you to maximize you and ensure that you're ready to accomplish whatever goals you've set for yourself.
And looks like we have one of our graduating seniors on, and she says, Natalie Strickland said, I absolutely love all of the work you guys have done to make our dream come true. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Natalie. Thanks, Natalie.
Thank you, Natalie. And thank you, Ms. Zork, all right. Mr. Meyer. I was actually at Panera today, and a senior came up to me and said, are you our superintendent? Thank you for everything that you're doing. Maybe because he saw my car and how it's decorated. But that truly touched my heart, and it was very reviving to have him come up and acknowledge me. So now we are running through our last segment this evening, and this is the initial update that we had scheduled the week that we had to shut down as a system. So this is the opportunity to provide an update to you regarding my 90-day plan. I had the opportunity to share some of this information with the board the Tuesday before we were shut down. My plan is being implemented in 3 phases. I will quickly review each of those phases. What you see here is a screen that I use during all of my presentation. It captures who we are as a system. It gives a lot of information in this infographic. One of the things you see up there is us comparing ourselves to Martin County, and you can see in the percent of A schools, they 50% A's, us 21. I'm going to keep that screen there, and I'm going to continue to update it from year to year to year, and what you will see is a drastic growing of our A and B schools, and ultimately just A's. And I continue to say that. I don't even know how schools are going to be graded next year. Obviously, the criteria will shift or modify because there were assessments and grades being issued this year. But I know, based on the quality of instruction, the commitment of our administrators and teachers, we can pull ourselves together to be that model nation, that model district across our nation. So, as I said, plan was implemented in 3 phases. Phase 1 was the opportunity for me really to establish an understanding of the district, connect with the schools and the stakeholders, conducted that phase in December, opportunity to visit every single school, connect with administrators, understand who we were as a system, conduct a thorough transition with the previous superintendent, Dr. Moxley, who has been very supportive in helping me work through during that time. Phase 2 was the opportunity to analyze district data and performance, gather feedback from stakeholders, develop a clear understanding of what the reality is within our system. Understand the numbers and the behaviors and the beliefs that were in place that led to those particular numbers. I have completed both of those phases, and currently we are in phase 3, which is the opportunity to begin that strategic work, to begin to look at our strategic plan, begin to get input from the board, from our system leaders, from our community, really to define how we are going to do that. And you still have opportunities to provide feedback. So if you have opportunity to visit our website, Project Re-envisioning is what you would be looking for. It is on our webpage. There are opportunities for you to start taking additional feedback surveys based on this presentation tonight, starting tomorrow. So please look to our webpage tomorrow to begin to provide us additional input. In the collection of data during phase 2, over 10,000 data points. So as I mentioned, school visits, surveys, focus groups, data reviews, district events, had 2 town hall meetings in this room. We're standing room only, and looking at our numbers on Facebook Live and on YouTube, as well as our public channel, we're right around 300 tonight, so very excited to have that many people participating in this environment. Although we're not here together, we still are engaging and connecting regarding the progress of this school system. So not only was this internal collection of data, but also external, went out into the community, had a number of community forums, opportunities to understand the services that we were providing to our community. And you'll see we learned a great deal about who we were as a system, and there are some bright spots that we learned. There's a renewed sense of hope and excitement regarding this work that we are leading and working together. Increased communication and collaboration. Our success in the implementation of our provisional plan was communication and collaboration. I think that is one of the reasons we as a district stood out for our pivot in learning a new way of teaching and learning across the state of Florida. Collaborative planning, the systems that are connecting teachers together, student progress and support. So as we went through this evaluation, a number of bright spots to push out and celebrate as a community. And then areas that we need improvement. And even when we are that system that leads the nation, there are still going to be opportunities to improve our practice. As we design ourselves as a system, we'll design ourselves as a reflective system, always evaluating our implementation and defining ways to improve our practice to ensure that we're providing the highest quality of support and education for our students. But we really want to look at focus on achievement. Equity and inclusion is a big driving force in our system. We want everyone to have a sense of pride in schooling, to be prideful not only of where they go to school, but the system in which that school belongs to clear and consistent communication, setting expectations, defining who is responsible for doing what work and who is responsible for supporting which area of work, who is responsible and how we support, very important, process and procedures, support services, and discipline. So those are areas in which we know we need to improve. That is the work that we're doing right now, looking for a process in developing a strategic plan that ensures that we're able to check off each of these areas as we design our new strategic plan. So those are opportunities to improve or to focus in on. We also need to look at the overall structure of the plan and ensure that the designed plan, the systems plan, is unified in a way that ensures that it is strong, it is clearly communicated, and we all understand who is responsible for doing what as we begin to implement this plan over the next 5 years. A weak strategic plan, a strategic plan that isn't focused or designed correctly, ultimately could do more harm than good. So we're being very intentional as a team to ensure not only are we addressing the right areas in which I just spoke about, but also clearly designing a plan that pulls us together, unifies us, defines our priorities, and ensures that we're moving in the right direction. And you look at our current plan, these are some opportunities that we know we need to address. Identify student achievement as a priority, ensuring that we're maximizing the potential of all students is what we really want to be about as a system. Eliminate silos to create unified vision and a way of work for all school improvement. Strategic plans shouldn't silo out or make individuals only focus in on certain areas of the work, but ultimately understand how that area of work supports student achievement. Increased accountability for strategic planning and implementation. A true continuous improvement model that isn't long and stale and ineffective, but quick and responsive, accelerating our ability to understand the impact that we are having and to quickly modify and shift our behaviors to improve practice with enough time to ensure that we're maximizing student performance. You see some of the others. The other one that I probably would like to highlight in this particular area, identify and incorporate guiding principles, which leads us into the next slide. We are now in a process where we're working. I have the opportunity to engage our school board on our guiding principles. In the coming workshop, we're going to have the opportunity to begin to look at our vision and mission. But at our last board meeting, we had the opportunity to provide feedback to our board from a number of focus group with principals and teachers regarding our strategic plan, belief statements, and guiding principles. And this is the information that we shared with them. And this is the information that we shared with them. But based on the feedback in which they've provided, as well as feedback that's already been provided from our principals, we're continuing to grow this process and unify ourselves. And what is our mission statement? What are the aligned beliefs to that mission? So as you see here, we're having conversations around equity and access. Do we truly understand what equity and access means? And can we hold ourselves accountable for behaviors that are always aligned to ensuring that we're providing equity and access to all students? Innovation. We've spoken a lot tonight about innovative practices and the impact innovation has. Looking at both business practices as well as educational practices, we need to ensure evidence-based innovative practices are in place and that we're designed in a way to continually grow that innovation and ultimately be a leader in innovation. Individual and school community has been constant feedback through this entire process, ensuring everyone has voice, everyone is heard. I think this process really has highlighted that particular area very well. But we continue to ensure, as we look at the design of our beliefs and our mission, that we ensure that there is equity and voice, and we design a comprehensive plan. And then ultimately, a supportive educational environment, culture, is what that means. Everything will not be successful if we can't create a culture in which everyone feels valued, respected, and cared for, knowing that they could fail forward, knowing that they can take a chance, knowing they can express exactly how they feel is a key to any system's success. And then here you see some aligned behaviors. So in our strategic plan, we're just not willing to put words on paper and define action steps and throw some data up there, but really challenge ourselves as individuals. Not only will we define what we believe, not only will we define guiding principles that will drive our behaviors, but we want to look at key behaviors across the entire organization, behaviors that we collectively, as an organization, can hold ourselves accountable for. So we've taken it a step further, and you can see some of the aligned behaviors that we're negotiating collectively as an organization. So at the end of this process, before we begin to design our strategic plan, based on everything that we learned in phase 1 and phase 2 of our plan, we understand when we have that mission, we're close. We're having the opportunity to bring that information back to the board in our coming workshop, that mission will be supported by our guiding principles. And those guiding principles supported by clearly defined behaviors, behaviors that we make extremely public. We let everyone in the community know the school system in Indian River County, we believe, and these are the behaviors that are aligned to those particular beliefs. That is what is going to lay the foundation for our success as we begin to design our system's strategic plan, which will be done in early June. So when you look at next steps, continuing to work with our board to identify, as I said, what is our vision, what is our mission, our belief statements, continuing to gather feedback, massaging that, then designing the structure of the plan over the course of 5 years, defining the goals where we want to hit within each year, aligning the evaluation system to our strategic plan is important for me, aligning the school improvement plans to that strategic plan, also very important, aligning our African American Achievement Plan to that strategic plan, ensuring that we have one comprehensive document that clearly defines who is responsible for what. Everyone in the organization understands the role that they play in implementing their defined responsibilities to support the implementation of our strategic plan, all moving in the same direction, all understanding our roles and responsibilities, the role that we play in ensuring we are providing opportunities to maximize the potential of all students in our system. That is our presentation. I have probably said it a number of times, and there you see it, maximizing the full potential of all students. That's the impact we want to have as a system. We are well on our way. Many systems have, as reflected by one of the questions that were asked, why can't we just cash in? And absolutely not. Too much is at stake. So very excited about the efforts that we continue to put in. We will complete the 90-day plan on schedule despite COVID-19. We will continue to do this work. We will continue to ensure as a system we are best by kids. And at this time, thank you for your opportunity. My piece is done, but the program is not over. We have some additional announcements that will be provided by our Public Information Officer, Ms. Kristen Maddox. Once again, I want to thank her team for being here and coordinating this and making sure I look as slim as possible on this camera. Not an easy feat. Dr. Jacobs for some of the back scenes putting this together. Our school board chair for hanging tough and being an audience of two, with that second member being our assistant superintendent, Mr. Meyer. And with that, thank you. Enjoy your evening. And now for additional updates, Ms. Kristen Maddox.
All right, thank you, Dr. Moore. If we have any questions that were submitted that Dr. Moore did not answer tonight, please email them to socialmedia@indianriverschools.org, and we will make sure that your question gets to the correct person to provide you with the best answer. So again, that's socialmedia@indianriverschools.org. So we just wanted to review Grad Week. We've had a wonderful week. There's some really awesome stuff going on social media. And Monday, let's start with the first day of Grad Week, Monday, May 11th. And that was take a walk down memory lane and share a picture of your graduate before their school days. Well, Dr. Moore, that's Dr. Moore up there on the screen. And that's South Dade Senior High, his graduation day. What year was that, Dr. Moore? Oh, Mrs. Zork with the answer, 1990.
Ding, 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 yes.
All right. And Tuesday was let's have some fun and dress up in our best formal wear. And again, we have Dr. and Mrs. Moore there, and I'm sure there's one thing that really stands out in that photo, and that is that Dr. Moore has the same smile then that he does now. And how beautiful is Mrs. Moore? And if you tuned into our board meeting that night, you noticed that all of us were wearing our prom attire, and we had a lot of fun that night getting dressed up and honoring our graduates. And on Wednesday, we had a very special ceremony on Memorial Island. It was our virtual flag-raising ceremony where we honored our graduates who have enlisted in the military. And we would like to thank once again the Memorial Island Committee for arranging this so quickly for us, and John Michael Matthews, he is the chairman of the committee. And thank you to the Veterans Council for coming out and being on flag detail for us, and for our JROTC instructors at both of our high schools for being there to read the names. So sticking with the theme of the military, this is National Military Appreciation Month. So not only do we want to recognize our graduates who have enlisted in the military, but everyone in our community who has served in the military, thank you so much for your service. And we can't wait to get back to our regular board meetings where we could bring in our Veteran of the Month each month again. That's something that we've really been missing, but thank you again for your service. And on Thursday, today, decorate your car or home to honor the class of 2020. And there's Dr. Moore. That was prom night. That was Tuesday. He's had his car decorated all week in honor of our seniors. So he has, if you see him going down the road, it looks like a just married car. He's got the streamers out the back, and congrats seniors across his back window, and SDIRC Stronger Together. He is, truly has the coolest car in Indian River County right now, I think. And for tomorrow is, what are your plans post-graduation? And if you'd like to mention who the teacher was that inspired you in your course after high school, whatever that might be, that would be really nice to recognize that teacher as well. And we are asking for our entire community at 6 o'clock tomorrow night to go outside, honk your horns, flash your lights. Dr. Moore's gonna scream in his yard. So don't be alarmed if you hear your neighbors shouting, go out and shout with them. I'm really hoping that our local law enforcement, that they will be able to blare the sirens and flash their lights as well, and that we just have a really awesome celebration together as a community to recognize our class of 2020. So stay tuned on social media because we will be showing some very exciting things tomorrow. We'll have a video put together that encompasses all the activities for Grad Week. And we're really happy that although we couldn't be together, we could celebrate this virtually. And last but certainly not least, we have some really cool posters for both Sebastian and Vero Beach High School. These are for our SDIRC families and community members, our local businesses, and they are free, okay? So we just want to know where can we bring them, which office can we deliver them to. We will have these at both high schools tomorrow, Vero Beach High School and Sebastian River High School main offices, and their office hours are 9 to 3. So you can stop by and you can pick up as many as you need. Please help us get these out and around the community. And we will also have these on our website. There are social media graphics that you can use to change your profile picture. We have one with combined Sebastian River High School and Vero Beach High School, and we have one with combined Vero, Sebastian, and Indian River Charter High School. So feel free to use those graphics and change your social media pictures. But if you would like a hard copy of one of these posters, please email us at socialmedia@indianriverschools.org. Let us know where to drop them off, or we can schedule a pickup, or head to Sebastian River High School or Vero Beach High School tomorrow between 9 and 3, or anytime next week between 9 and 3 to the main office to get your copy. And those are all the updates that I have for tonight. So thank you so much for joining us in this virtual town hall. Dr. Moore?
I have nothing else. Thank you, Ms. Maddox, for the updates and the incredibly odd old pictures of me.